let's go. Let's go. Let's do some audio and visual check. How's everybody doing? Good evening, Doom Lord. Out there eating dinner. Dinner plans already. Richard in the chat. Calling out trades in the NASDAQ. And on that note, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Slow Markets. I'm Coach Dakota, Coach DBA. As always, in the YouTube chat, there's that Topstep risk disclosure. Everything we go over is for educational purposes only. It's not financial advice. It's education, not signals. Education. We're here to learn, get better, become better traders, and hopefully be able to provide you with some value. Provide some value. I don't know about the entertainment side, but I mean, we're here for the trading and to get better, right? Gold grinder. Oh man, bring back memories. Yeah, Doomlord DBA concepts, loud and clear. Buyers going at it again. How's that unbelievable, Richard? Buy the dip. Buy the dip. Now, since last night we did not get to 600 likes, I will extend it. If we could get to 600 likes today, then I'll review that trade that I have been. I'll review my big trade of this month. Basically 2025. We'll review it. Only if we get to 600 likes during the stream. How about that? Now, before we get going, I'll show this a few times because this is important. This is extremely important when it comes to what's going on. What is going on, they say, is, look at this. Non-farm payrolls report is tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. We need to make sure we are aware it's going to be a market mover, up, down, left, right, a little bit of both. That's something that we need to be paying attention to. Other than that, I mean, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow morning, early in the morning. It's Thursday night, Friday's price action, Friday going into a big event. I know this week I've been talking about it a little bit. And there's going to be a lot of eyes on the non-farm. The team's going to be covering it, talking about it tomorrow morning during fast markets. I'm going to be on with Coach Jay during, trading with Topstep. And then, tomorrow's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good Friday. I'll show this a couple times, just, traders coming in, make sure that we are aware, everyone knows. My advice, not to hold a trade through that. Not to hold a trade through those numbers because we know they could be very unpredictable. Very unpredictable. And then, what I'm excited for? I'm excited for tomorrow? I'm going to be on the reversal challenge. I'm going to be on the reversal challenge tomorrow. And so, yeah, I get my competitive juices flowing is going to be fun. So, let's get going. We'll do our regular rapid fire. And before, let's see, pull up the NASDAQ. I'm in my XFA last night. Remember that gold trade? That passed the XFA. It worked out pretty well. I am now in my funded. I'll continue to trade a combine behind, on top of this and see if I could get back to those 5 XFAs. Not doing 5 at once, just one at a time, slowly grinding it out. And my first day in the XFAs, up $500. No, up $700. Sorry, $700. But I had a mistake. My mistake, I freaking fat fingered minis. It was just full contracts, minis. Ah, man. And I hurried and jumped out, but the market was moving too fast in fast markets. It was started out my day minus $1,200. Let's see. Yeah, I started off my day minus $1,400, and then it was kind of a whipsaw day, but finished in the green. First day back in the XFA, and first trade was oh, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. It's the worst feeling ever. So let's jump through this rapid fire. Yeah, lost $1,400 on that trade. I'm like, oh man. Here we go. Let's go through these markets. Let's look at the NASDAQ. We'll see if there's any opportunities. Like I said, non-farm payroll tomorrow morning. That's the main news, the main headline that I'm looking at and care about in the next 12, 24 hours. Here on the daily chart. I mean, buy the dip, right? I use that term very loosely as a blanket statement, but it holds true in these equities, in this NASDAQ, the way I view these markets. We came down and we just rejected. and we've had a nice rally off of that low, just straight up. Now we are approaching, I mean, we are breaking through a lot of levels, a lot more bullish than what I expected, to be honest. And coming from a bullish person, I did not expect this big of a day, going like the day before a Friday, and expect unexpected, I guess. I mean, not much to really go over here on the daily. I mean, we just very strong day. But on the hourly chart, there was some support and resistance. I was referring to this earlier, where this was a major area of resistance. And if I said this during fast markets, I said if we break through this, then I could see the markets coming up and at least testing these lower 600s. And boy, we did not just test these 600s. We just broke out and broke through those 600s. Like we didn't really spend much time into the 600s, to be honest. I was looking for the test of this level, but I was not expecting it to break it so freaking fast. I mean, look at it tonight. Tonight we broke through those 600s. And we're already into these 7s. Not a lot of time. That was pretty insane how that big move today. And we are showing, I mean, there's a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of resistance around here, but I'm not really seeing too much when it comes to like trading opportunities. Maybe a pullback here, but do I really want to? Man, I was telling myself this morning, like, do we really want to hold a trade for longer than an hour, especially going against this trend? Like a short trade, maybe some resistance. I think I'd rather be looking to buy a pullback than shorting this. Buy a pullback, just wait for a pullback, maybe look for opportunities to buy. Maybe wait till non-farm payroll tomorrow. But that's what I'm looking. Let's zoom onto a 5 minute. Let's talk about what's the price action happening tonight. What price action is happening tonight? Well, first, I mean, after that big rally today, it wasn't just like one momentous rally. It's kind of just a grind. It grinded higher, and then the last 10 minutes of power hour, I mean, just a nice huge rally the last 10 minutes of power hour. And after hours we kept going up. We did gap, so we did have a gap. This is a nice gap. We gapped to start the price action tonight, and then we filled most of it. We filled most of this gap. This was resistance. Broke through that resistance. Resistance became support. And now we just keep on going. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow we get some type of a pullback, maybe overnight. Maybe we get some type of a pullback down towards these 680s, 690s. Maybe there's a buying opportunity for some longs. Maybe buyers are looking for, I mean, I might be one of them, depending on the price action, depending if we do get down here, consolidate, and looking for a buying opportunity. NASDAQ's up 0.25%, and just pushing these highs. Maybe we come up and test these 790s tonight. Maybe we come up and test that level. If not, I know we talked about this earlier this week, the beginning of the week. We was talking about all-time highs. All-time highs. This is the hourly chart. All-time highs are going to be up here just above these 24,000. Is that possible? Very much so. We would need to get through this level of resistance here in these mid 700s, mid to upper 700s, and then maybe we can make a run for those all-time highs. We're not far off. To be honest, we're 1.5% from all-time highs. So tomorrow, if we have a 2% up day here in the NASDAQ, we could see that. Maybe we see it. We could even see it. If we don't see it tomorrow, maybe next week. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Or maybe we just get a nice pullback on non-farm payroll. Anything can happen. We are a little overextended. Maybe just what's one of these things where you see, look how many hourly candlesticks in a row. It's like, 6, 7, 8. And you kind of are expecting a pullback. I'd really want to see a pullback, in my own opinion, until even these measured moves, right? We measure this move and we compare it to how these other rallies have been. Okay, well, that seems about right? We had that nice rally That seems about an expected move, so maybe we could see some consolidation or a pullback. And then we measure it to this last one. I'm like, okay, you know, that's about the same expected move. We had this big, of course, this was a news event. And so let's take another non-news event can move. There's another non-news event, maybe. Like, okay, you know, we're about an expected rally. So definitely realistic to expect a pullback or consolidation. That's NASDAQ. That's NASDAQ for you. Let's take a look at gold. Let's take a look at gold now. Gold, I mean, buy the dip, right? Is this buy the dip for the gold? I'm leaning that way, right? It's actually not looking too bad. Not looking too bad to see if gold's gonna have a run to all-time highs. I mean, if you're a buyer, right? We're holding this nice trend. The trend is your friend. If we do start to break through some of these, you know, 36.14s and push higher. Now, I do know since non-farm payroll, are we going to expect a breakout? I don't know. I didn't really expect that big of a breakout in the NASDAQ today, but it's looking set up for like that's. Show me that in like a textbook or some type of educational video recording. That seems like it would be a textbook setup, right? Not identical, but maybe a little similar to this. Maybe similar to that. I mean, it's looking good. All right. Remember, this is not a signals class. This is just for education, but it's looking very attractive for the buyers aspect. Maybe we just sell off here. Now I'm zooming into the 5-minute chart, and on the 5-minute, a little bit of a different vibe. All right, this is some major resistance here on gold. These 12s to 16s, and maybe we do consolidate going into non-farm payroll, where we come down and we test this level again. We'll see. Top of the hour. We have about 14 minutes left to see if we could find some type of thing. Now remember, let's go through this one more time, since we're getting more people in here, and we'll continue to get more people in the YouTube chat. Let's get this going. Hashtag slow markets. If you're new here, let me know in the chat. I'm curious. I always love to see the new traders, new members tuning in. You don't have to be you don't have to be a member, but yeah, this YouTube and what we're doing here at Topstep, it's free for anybody, member or not. But let's do hashtag slow markets. And what that is there's my social. And if you go on there, if you have a Twitter account and you see a setup, you're trading, you have just whatever, you can tag me into it. And if it's nice, if it's good, I will show it here on stream live. And then of course, I've been posting updates, and I've been shamelessly plugging this in. There is the Instagram, the gram right there. That's when I'm not on air. That's where I will be posting any updates, comments, what I'm doing, some of that stuff. So there it is. Doomlord, I'm a hot trader. Doomlord. Yeah, we need to hey, this is for free for everybody. It's free for everybody. I don't charge for it. So, yeah, there we go. We're going to watch gold. Going that. Now remember, 600 likes. 600 likes. If we get to 600 likes, I will review my big trade of the week. I will review my big trade of the week. It's my personal best for 2025. I made $94,000 off of it. I'll review the same setup. It was here in the NASDAQ, and I said I'd do it yesterday, but chat failed to get to the 600 likes. Well, I think we could get to that. I think it's, now that I'm mentioning it early in the stream, we'll get to it. We're already at 230, so it's looking pretty bullish on the like button. Pretty bullish. Jay Smitty, was it in the futures? The setup was in the same. Now, like NASDAQ was the setup. I took it in options, but the setup, I'll show it to you in the NASDAQ. NASDAQ QQQ I use those simultaneously, like potatoes, NASDAQ, QQQ. That's how I view it. And when it comes to technical analysis, and I talked a little bit about early, the same technical analysis I use here on slow markets is the same technical analysis I use on fast markets. And it's the same technical analysis I use in my personal account. So regardless of whether I'm trading a practice account, whether I'm trading a funded account, or I'm trading a live account or a personal account, doesn't matter what account I'm trading, I am using the same technical analysis. 1 year with Topstep, and I've learned a lot. Yes. How much did you say? 9,000, 94,000. It was $94,000 on one trade. And yeah, I always have receipts. I show receipts. I've never understood the social media vibe of just faking that stuff. And I never will. And I mean, hey, if you don't do it, don't do it. If you take a loss, you just show it. You just show it. You just show the losses, show the winners. I'm doing this for education. No need to sell anything. Yeah, so I said, if we get to 6,000 likes, I'll review it. I mean, if you follow me on social media, you kind of have an idea of the trade setup. You know how often I say buy the dip, right? Doom Lord, buy the dip. Maybe I rename my VIP Pop Squad. We are the dip buyers. Yeah, we're almost there. No, 600 likes. Did I say 6,000? Am I getting a little greedy? A little greedy. I don't know. I'm gonna watch this gold here, and then we can review that trade. And I think we're got prepared for some non-farm payroll tonight. Non-farm payroll tonight. And I think the best option is, for me, it's just understanding that there's a big news event tomorrow, and understanding how the market typically likes to get a little bit more choppy. I haven't really traded into the number because I'm usually sleeping when the number comes out most of the time, and making sure I don't have a trade going into that number. That's definitely, trust me, making sure I don't have a trade going to that number is very important. Are you only doing one account instead of copying? Yes. Yep. Wrecked. I am doing one account, just one account right now, one account at a time. I'm trading this. Today was a good day for me. My first day, even though I had a fat finger that cost me $1,400. Very first trade, brand new XFA, first trade, fat fingered on air. But then, we came back, positive 744. I'm going to do one account at a time. Trade my XFA, and then when I have time or when I see setups, I'm also going to be trade a combine in the back, and going to continue to build it from there, because I'm still grinding this out, just like everybody here in this chat. I'm grinding it out, going through to get into a live account, back to live. Very well. Yeah, Doom, you were there. You were trading it up as well, trading those micros. Guys, it's my initials, I think. Caught that gold long. Posted X. Forgot to tag slow markets. Yeah, tag slow markets. Hashtag slow markets. We already have some coming through. I always love seeing this. Here's SJR trades. I mean, in here, SR trade is tearing it up. I see you trading this XFA. Green on the screen. Looks like you are in the NASDAQ. You're up $1,200 in the XFA. So great trading. Love to see this. Always give credit. Always give it. Like, that's the community that I love to see. How do you go back to combine if you were live? I thought you couldn't do that. There you, Percy. Yes, you can. You struggle. You work with the risk management team. I worked with the risk management team, and the decision was like, man, I'm struggling in this live account. I withdrew $250,000 earlier this year. I withdrew most of my balance from my live account, and then I started struggling, and then it's like, okay, I need to get back to a simulated account, figure out what's going on, and then I could get back in, work my way back to live. Would be able to do it without DBA concepts. Yes. Bon Voyage, I did pass last month. Earlier last month, early in the month, and I did get into XFAs, and it didn't turn out too well. What is the most you made from profits in a year, if you don't mind me asking. In the prop firm world and in the prop firm industry, it was just under $500,000. I won't talk too much about my personal because that's obviously personal. But I've been showing a little bit more. I've been showing a little bit more on the personal side about that aspect. And just to put in perspective, yeah, like I said, what I'm doing here at Topstep, I'm doing it for to help traders, and to show, hey, you know, I also know what I'm doing. So let me just try and show that I know what I'm doing. I could talk the talk, I could walk the walk, and so I made just under $500,000. So what is your strategy now? One account at a time. Explain your thought process. Then, yeah, one account at a time. While I'm in my XFA, I'm just going to take it slow and take it slower and just look for base hits, find setups. I'm going to be a lot more patient. I'm going to try and be more patient. And then I'm going to trade a combine as well and just continue to just trade, do me, just quality trades over quantity trades. A little bit of that. Remember, 600 likes. I'll review that trade. Dakota, so you're saying I should cut this trade and not keep it on. Not sure what you mean by that. Like I said, you trade your own process. I'm over here watching gold. We're watching gold here at these 3600s. And I'm looking for buying opportunities, to be honest. Then these buyers are insane. They really want to pop this 37. What are your top 3 setups in slow markets? If you're new, I go over the setups every night. I go over technical analysis. My favorite, we went through last week on the strategy building session. It is recorded here on the TopstepTV YouTube. It's a strategy session. We built a strategy together. It's one of my favorite setups. How to use it is a little bit different. I simplified it a lot more for being on air, right? So I simplified it a lot easier for traders to just put it on like 1 or 2 documents to show how they build a strategy. See. Zeus, Dakota is trying to stay relevant at Topstep by tweeting massive gains elsewhere. I mean, I show everything. That was interesting because I'm an indicator guy, and Coach D, yeah, you have a lot of indicators, Doom. You just have a couple. Will you be looking to take 150K to live necessarily, or the goal is to just go live? Then I don't decide when I go live. It's up to the risk managers. If I go live with 20,000, I go live with 20,000. If I go live with 30, I'll go live with 30. I don't base it off of dollar amounts. Well, how did the options turn out? Ron Hunter, if we get to 600 likes, then we'll go over that trade. We'll go over that trade as we watch this gold. And I am going to let's get some nice music. I always got to get this nice music. Sometimes I have the music playing for me, and I forget to click the right button to make sure it's not too loud. Let me know. Let's get this. There we go. Dakota, do you think it's easier to become profitable on fast or slow markets? Ooh. I think it depends. It depends. I have a bias towards slow markets because I'm a slow markets trader. I love to see slow markets. That's where I learned to trade because I worked during the day. I had a part-time job. I was going to college, and that's how it was. That is how it was. Night Trader, what about your combine counter? So you'll get an update from Topstep. I've been focusing on my trading. I know Baron's not here tonight. He's, like I said, I've talked to him. I've talked to him last week. I talked about it last week. He's taking some much needed time off. Much needed. Just like everybody. I do it myself. Where you get so into trading, I don't want to say addiction, but you wear yourself out. You wear yourself out. You use up all your mental capital. And sometimes you just need to take a break. Sometimes you just need to take a break, get away from the screens, get away from just all the stresses, and take a step back. Is my strategy going to change with upcoming changes to OCOs? No. No. Big fan. Dakota, I did lose the combine today trying to follow your trade, but intuitions are on point. Yeah, don't. I love that you're a fan, but I never like to hear when traders follow my trades. I did end up $700 today, and like I said, the stream's delayed. It's not a signals class, and if you're gonna place a trade, make sure you place it following your own process. The last thing you want to do is place a trade, you make money, and then you don't give yourself credit because you followed someone else. And vice versa. If you place a trade and you lose money, you tend to blame that person or blame someone else, and you're not able to duplicate that if you're not following someone else's trade. So love to see that you're a fan, but trust me, please, if you're new, I say this all the time, whenever I'm on, I do the top step risk disclosure. It's not a signals class, but yeah, purely for education. Yes, it's doing good by him. Yeah, we're watching gold. Gold's not moving too much. Right at the top of the hour, we do see a spike in volatility. So let's zoom in a little bit. We'll zoom in a little bit, and we'll go through some technicals while we wait. And yeah, we're kind of getting a little bit of a bullish flag. And I say this is a bullish flag. We had a nice bounce, nice rally up. We did some technicals. We do the rapid fire at the beginning of the class. Every single night during slow markets, I go through a rapid fire. I start on the daily, then the hour, then the 5 minute. And I'm bullish on the gold on those higher time frames. So we got that nice bounce up. We did test these 3590s right back up above these 3600s. 3600s is a big round number, 3600, and we just bounced out of that. And now we're kind of seeing this consolidating pattern. Adobe Dorito, bullish flag, pennant, potato. There's so many different ways to say the same thing. People like to repackage something. It's like, wow, look, hey, I'm just going to rename the same pattern and rename it, and I'm going to just sell it, right? So there's a lot of that goes on in this industry, renaming the same things over and over again. But ultimately, we have a rally, we have consolidation, and I'm looking for a continuation out of this rally. And I'm going to jump into micros, because micros. And you know, honestly, chat, honestly, you can honestly classify markets in two ways. In my opinion, you can classify markets in two ways. But I'm going to go ahead and look to get into this gold. I'm going to look to get into gold. We're going to scale in. We're going to scale in with some micros. Move my stop loss right below there. But let me explain this. I want to make sure I'm explaining this really well. We're gonna do a educational segment here, okay, chat? This is gonna be educational segment. I want this to be very educational for everybody. So, got a nice. We have gold going on. We have gold's going right now, but I'm going to switch this to where I'm going to do some drawing. We're going to do DBA concepts tonight. While we wait to get to the 600 likes, if you want me to review that trade from earlier this week, which I'm surprised that you guys were not so hyped up over that trade and that analysis. I mean, if you told me someone's going to give me their analysis on how they made $94,000 on YouTube for free by just clicking the like button, I'd fly out there and ask them, like, yeah, show me that analysis. Yeah, because usually people charge a lot of money for that kind of stuff. So let's go through this. DBA concepts. I joke. I just say DBA concepts. DBA. It's my initials, right? And I joke because all it is technical analysis, and it's nothing special, right? Just a joke. So while we're watching gold break out, we'll continue to watch. Just continue to watch gold over here on the right-hand side, and we'll do this over here on the left. It's a blank canvas. I'm using this like a whiteboard. Yeah. What the heck was I doing? What was I gonna do? Markets in two things. Markets in two things. Okay. All right. Let's get this right. I'm gonna switch this to. I want to see ticks. Whenever I look at gold, I want to see ticks. There we go. There we go. Risking 69 ticks. We're doing the way I view the market. Okay. Technicals and classification, because there's so much out there online on talking about, the same thing. Dorito pattern, bullish flag, consolidation, pennant, so many different concepts. People rename things. People change things, just different verbiages, different this, different that. And it can confuse a lot of traders. But ultimately, what it comes down to is two main market conditions. Two main market conditions. What's the very first one? The very first one is an expansion. The market expands. You could say expansion, a trend, right? Expansion, trend, whatever. Or a rally or a sell-off, whatever. I'm referring this to just an expanding market where a market is trending. And then we have contraction. I just say expansion and contraction, trending or consolidating. And that's usually, it looks so many different things, right? So many different ways. Whether it's a bull flag, whether it's a pullback, whatever it is. That's typically the two market conditions we get. An expansion and then a contraction. And then what happens? Then typically we get another expansion. And the market likes to expand in the same direction it entered the consolidation. So this example, so let me repeat this example. The first expansion was bullish, right? Then the second phase is a consolidation phase, right? And then next, if we enter another expansion, then that's typically how markets work. Now, sometimes there's a little bit of a pullback before we get the consolidation, right? So it's just something like this. And that's just a very, very simplistic and very general with the way that I like to view these markets. Expansion, contraction. And in between there's all these different concepts, all these different patterns, so many different ways to view this market. Double bottoms, double tops, a 3-bar reversal, flagging pattern. There's this, there's that. There's, so many different concepts. A popular one I see chat talk about all the time is ICT. I joke around about DBA concepts. We talk about volume profile. We talk about opening range breakout. We talk about, there's so much to these markets. But ultimately, when I see these markets, it kind of just boils down to this. We have an expansion, market moves, and it trends. And then we have a consolidation period where the market kind of just goes sideways. It doesn't always work out so perfect, right? Where we just expand, contract, expand, and it's not always perfect. It mixes it up, right? And we can see it. We can see it in these markets all the time. So we see an expansion where we expanded to the downside, then technically we consolidated, and then we expanded to the upside, and then we consolidated, and then question mark, are we expanding to the upside? I don't know, right? But then in those consolidations, it whipsaws how big of a consolidation. Then you can start diving in depth about so many more very in-depth and complicated things. I'm doing golden example. Wow, we let this trade cook. We let this trade cook. We're making money, paying for dinner again. I could finally eat. I could get back to eating better now that I'm in a funded account, paying for dinner in slow markets. But a good example is here on gold. Best example I've seen in a while. Let's look at gold. This is a daily chart in gold. Okay. And we had this major expansion in gold. And then we had a major consolidation. And so now the question is, now that we're starting to break out, are we going to see another big expansion? Well, so far, I think there's a possibility that we've started this expansion. Now, how big is this, right? A trend, a move, whatever. Maybe you're not measuring this entire move. Maybe it's something that's just like this, right? Maybe it's just something like that. Who knows? Maybe it could be just that simple. Just like, okay. And this is a very big consolidating pattern. And then you can continue to zoom in and you could just break it down. These markets are fractal. So the same thing plays out on basically every time frame, right? Zoom into an hourly chart, zoom into a 5-minute chart. And gold's such an amazing example of this. I mean, especially look at this, right? This is a trending market. It's going up and to the right. Very simple, very straightforward. And look at this. We expand, we contract, right? We expand, contract. And just very, very healthy market. This is just a very healthy market. With pullbacks, expand, contract, expand, and I could just sit here and draw it up. This one had like a kind of a double. This one is kind of interesting because it's never perfect. It's never perfect, right? I can just continue to draw this out. Like there's plenty of examples here, but when we're trending, it's a thing of beauty. I love this. I love when this market actually sets up, and it's like wow. With hindsight, of course, right? Hindsight, it's always look at markets a lot easier with hindsight. But yeah, when you break it down to that and simplify it, hopefully that could allow you to kind of see the markets in a different point of view, I guess, a different perspective, I should say. And maybe this is the same thing. Every single time you look at the market and you're looking, is this market trending? Is this market consolidating? I think that's a big part of being a successful trader, is learning how to identify what market condition are we in. Are we in a expanding market? Are we, like trending for the day? Or are we in a consolidating market? Are we going to consolidate for the day? And that could help you make decisions on your trades. Right? Am I going to be trading a, trending market strategy? Or am I going to be trading a consolidation strategy? Or maybe I'm not going to trade the consolidating days because I get chopped up. And then you could pick and choose, when you trade, when you don't trade. Gold, yeah, I'm purely talking about gold. Now, every market will have its own unique heartbeat, right? Its own uniqueness. NASDAQ, it's a beast in and of itself. It definitely is. It really is. NASDAQ by itself is crazy. But, I mean, it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. I can show you examples, right? Expand, contract, expand. Right? Here's some more. Expand, contract, expand. But the NASDAQ's a little crazy, a little chaotic. And sometimes the shorter time frames, and you could pick it up every once in a while. Then you have a day like today where it's like, we're just expanding. It's like we're contracting up and to the right. Yeah. I mean, look at that today. I was talking about that this morning on Topstep TV for fast markets. I'm like, you don't want to sell a quiet market. And I was getting in some shorts around here, and it worked out. That's where I made my money. But then we changed market conditions. We did. I keep this drawing tool. Once we started to break out, and I said this when we was on fast markets, I said, if we start to break out of this, then I can see the 600s, these lower 600s, and then we just started expanding, right? So the market conditions changed in the middle of the session, right? We were just kind of chopping and consolidating, and then we just broke out and we just went. And market conditions can change throughout the session, right? So we have the same thing, right? We have this, like, see how the markets were just consolidating. We broke down, consolidated a little bit, broke out, and then it was just off to the races. It was a little bit of a choppy day, which was kind of expected, right? We have non-farm payrolls tomorrow, and not expecting too crazy of volatility. And we didn't get crazy volatility, but we just got a consistent grind higher. And then the last 10 minutes, it was just that big rally. Bone accounts for the contrarians. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get out of that. I'm gonna get out of that. No dinner for me yet. No dinner for me yet. We failed to break out, and so we might head back down to the bottom of this range. We might head back down to the bottom of this range. That is a failed breakout. Failed breakout. Failed breakout. So question is, do we go back down to the bottom of this range? Hello, Dakota, do you have a video on how I can set up my charts like yours? I'm new to Topstep X platform, thanks. I don't have a video to set up my charts like mine. I thought this was the default. I mean, there are, if you go over here onto this support, right? Over here on the left-hand side, there's support. And there's Topstep 5-minute tutorials. Topstep 5-minute tutorials that you could go through and watch. But as far as my charts, they're one of the basics. I haven't really done much. I mean, I came over here and it says select layouts. And that's where I've 1 or 2. That's all I usually am. And then you could also add components, right? Add components. And yeah, it's my setup is very basic. I'm very minimal, very minimal. I'm very minimal when it comes to trading and things in general. Flyer Gym is my strategy. I don't have my strategy posted anywhere. Let's see if this gold's gonna sell off, or if we are just gonna bounce here. You can press the gear setting on the bottom to adjust settings. Yeah, and then let's see. Let's see what the default is. Oh, yeah, I don't know. There's the default. I tried to name some of these. I don't play around with my settings very often. I'm like, just give me a chart and a buy and a sell button, and I'm good to go. And of course the drawing tools for when I'm in class. So what is the setup? What do you mean the setup? The setup. Hey, we still have not got to 600 likes, and I plan to review. I planned tonight to review that trade, trusting that the audience will get over 600 likes. The gear button is by the default. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, there's a bunch of buttons up here that you could use. Save new layout, reset your layout, open a new window, full screen. Here's the gear button right here. And then this is recorded. So here's my settings. Feel free to go through and pause this and set yours up like mine. How many likes do you have? Never enough. Never enough. If we don't get to 600 likes, I might, yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that one. No, not 600. 599. 599. Because sometimes we have users that just watch on the TV. And you can't like it when you're just watching it on your TV, right? So I did 599 for our man from yesterday who was trying to push the like button on their TV as a joke. I mean, I meant your go-to strategy or setup most of the time, simplified version. I mean, that's it. That is it. My go-to strategy and simplified version is what I went through last week during my strategy building. I did a strategy building session. It is on YouTube here, and Topstep's YouTube, Slow Markets. I did it for a whole week. I dedicated 30 minutes. I'm sending the clips to the team here, and then they should be able to get it out for you guys. But one of the most simplest strategies is that I use, right? And this is not this is not like financial advice, or this is not, hey, here's my strategy, it works. No, I simply use technical analysis. My favorite thing is buying pullbacks. I joke because I say buy the dip. Well, that's what I love to do. And we're going to go over that here because as soon as we get to 600 likes, you will get to see my favorite setup. My favorite setup. It always comes on higher time frames. Man, what a market. What a market. And pointing it out. Look at this head and shoulders pattern. Shoulder, shoulder. Is this the head? And then we break through the neckline. Right? There's a good technical. Good technical. Shoulder, shoulder. Break through this neckline. And I go through my analysis every night during slow markets. Every night I go through my analysis when I'm on slow markets. And then when I get on to TopstepTV, it's a bullhead, coach. I don't see it, Doom. I don't see it. I don't. What do you mean bullhead? Yeah, you might have to send me a picture, Doom. I don't see a bull's head. Up 900. Look here. Okay, we're almost to 600 likes and we got it. Now, just reminder for everybody. Just a brief reminder. I keep saying this. I love these graphics. These are my favorite graphics. It's clean. These graphics are clean. I need a better way to set these graphics up and put them in. I'll put them in OBS. Don't worry. I'll get better at getting these things on OBS. But non-farm payrolls report tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Central Time. TopstepTV, it's covering it tomorrow morning. I will always recommend that. I strongly do not advise traders to hold trades into the numbers. I've accidentally held some trades through the numbers. I've slept through big numbers. We all know that. And I've lost a lot of money holding trades into the numbers. Longhorns. I still don't see it, Doom. I still don't see it. Dakota, teach how to stop trading for the day. I've had to move to the 1 hour. How to stop trading for the day. I want to now. Here's the hard question. How do you deal with the tilt or revenge? Well, if you're dealing with tilt or revenge, you have the lockout button here on Topstep X, which is my first recommendation to go to here and just lock yourself out. But you need to learn how to identify it. So we got to 600 likes. I'll go over that now. We'll go over it. We'll go over it. But I want to finish this thought process first. No matter what, we are humans and we will never be able to fully get rid of our emotions. That's a fact. We're emotional, especially when it comes to money, right? And so Daniel Negreanu, who's one of the, if not the best poker player there is, he was asked a question, and he was asked something similar. He said, the question that was asked was, hey, how do you get rid of your emotions, and how do you don't let your emotions affect your poker playing? And he's like, well, I have emotions. I just know when I'm being emotional, and I know how to not let that get into what I'm doing, right? His poker. And it's the same thing with us. And that's what he said separates the amateurs from the professionals, right? That the professionals can identify when an amateur is being emotional and the reads, and I don't want to go too far in depth, but it's the same thing here in trading. Is we're only playing against ourselves in reality. It's us versus us. And too often we don't realize we're on tilt, or we don't realize our emotions are getting into our trading until after it's too late, until after the damage is already done. So you could be trading and trading, you could place another trade, you could increase your size, you could move your stop, you can move your take profit. A lot of times you don't notice that you're making these decisions based off of emotions until after the damage is already done. And then you just go back and you look, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just emotional. I was on tilt. How do I prevent that? And so a lot of times you need to learn how to identify it first. You need to be able to have that self-awareness to say, okay, that was just very emotional. I need to lock myself out, or I need to stop trading, or put yourself in check. So being able to identify it. Now remember, we have all the tools in the world here at Topstep. Like, we could come in here and lock ourselves out, but we have to do that. We have to manually click on the manual lockout, and we have to manually click on lock us out, right? So we first have to identify when we are being emotional or on tilt, and then we have to go through and do this. That is the hardest part in trading when it comes to the psychological aspect. So hopefully that helps. You'd have to just I have the luxury of being on camera, so I could rewatch a trading session, and I could get on YouTube and just watch myself and like, okay, when I'm emotional, I tend to do this. And maybe you could do the same thing. If you have a camera, you could record yourself trading, and maybe you could identify, like, maybe are you tapping your leg? Are you staring at a certain place on your computer monitor? And be able to do those things. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. All right, let's get to it. We are fine. We got to 600 likes. Okay. Let's go through this. I'm gonna set it up. So let me. We're gonna turn some. We're gonna turn some better music on. Hold up. We're gonna get this set up. Now we'll just have some. Well, we're good. The music's good. So let's go through this. I need to make sure I have everything correct on my end. So here we go. Just so everyone knows, benefit of I plug my socials in there. I talk about this. I show my trades. I did a video of what I was looking at in my setup as well. But if you missed it, I had the best trade of the year this week, and it was a trade. It wasn't a longer term thing. It was a trade, a single trade of the year. Let's see if I could show it. Anyway, I made $94,000 in a single trade, and it was a trade that lasted about 24 hours. And this is a real account, live account, and it was an options. But the setup in my options, it was QQQ, which is I use simultaneously, and I do the same setups in the NASDAQ. The QQQ and the NASDAQ, hand in hand. Okay, they're correlated. That's basically the same instrument in a way. So I look at the NASDAQ, and when I'm trading the NASDAQ and the QQQ, it's the same thing. I'm looking at it as the same thing. They're not exactly the same thing, but yeah, one's the futures, one's QQQ is ETF. And so I trade options, but I trade it very much the same as what you see here on Slow Markets and what you see on TopstepTV. And what I like to do, everyone sees what I like to do. It's on the daily chart, and I do my same analysis. So what I was looking at, and let me show you this trade on what I can. Okay, so here's the trade. Here is this trade, and I opened it. Yeah, there we go. I opened it on the 3rd of the month. The 3rd of the month, 94,000. The 3rd of the month, which correlates. Let's make sure I'm getting everything correct. Was basically on that day. I'm a firm believer of buying the dip. Let's make sure I get that straight. Everyone should know I love to buy dips. And so on this daily chart, I did this analysis, I think Sunday night with everybody. Major resistance zone. This is a daily chart, okay? Major resistance. That resistance became support, okay? We had this, of course we came down, and this was a major support level. We came down here and tested it, but that was really irrelevant. It was irrelevant for this setup. It was also major support here back on August 5th. And then even more recently, because to me, the most recent price action is the most important. Of course, further back you go, maybe the least impactful it is, but there's still some relevance to that. We had major support here as well back on August 22nd. 21st to 22nd. 3 days. 3 days. 1, 2, 3. We had that big sell-off held. So you get the idea. Major support on this level, and then we zoom in on an hourly chart. We zoom in on an hourly chart, and you could zoom in, and when you zoom in, you could see things a little bit better, granulize it, right? Zooming in, seeing more of the details. It's pretty straightforward, right? Pretty straightforward, simple technical analysis. That was the main thing. That's what I was looking at. I'm like, okay, this is a level of interest that I want to be getting in long the NASDAQ if we show signs of support. It's a short week. We have 4 days in this week, and we have this huge sell-off and not too much of a catalyst for why we're selling. So it came in here, and then now we are looking at the day. This is London. This was the start of London session right here. When this sell-off on Sunday night happened, or that night happened, this was London session. We sold off all London in the Europe session. We opened up in fast markets right down here at these 23,165 level. So that's where we opened up at. That's where we opened up, and we came down and we found buyers not once, but we found buyers twice. And when I executed this, because I'm looking for a long, this is that zone. Remember, we zoom out and I can say, okay, this is that zone I want to look for a long, and I want to be a buyer of the dip. I want to buy this dip. So I zoomed into a 5-minute chart because that's where I like to execute these trades. Not a scalp, a trade. And so here's what we looked at. Here's what we're seeing. And here's what we got. So this is the New York session open on this candle. Look at that rejection. We ran the lows, and buyers just stepped in and pumped it up. And then we rejected, and we failed to break the low. We consolidated, and guess what? We just pumped it right back up. Like, that's some serious volatility. 200 down, 200 up. But here's what this is where I pulled the trigger. We rallied up, we pulled back, and this thing looked primed for a breakout. Everyone knows what I like to look at, and right there was my execution. I got in. I started to enter my position here at 23,200. 23,200. Let's see. I might even have the exact timestamp, but that's where it was. That was my entry right there. My timestamp was pretty close to. It was right at near the beginning of Power Hour, I think, was the timestamp of when I actually got in that trade. Let me see if I could tell you when. Let's see. Yeah, I'll have to look through and see. But anyway, comparing this, let me pull up the queue. It's very hard now because the option's expired. But anyway, the same thing was, I'm going to explain this in a very simplistic term. What I said was, I'm long at this price. An option means, I don't, I think this market's going up, right? And so essentially at this point in time, hopefully I explained this correct. I said, tomorrow by end of day, I believe that the NASDAQ is going to be above this price, above 250. Let's just say this for an example, okay? And we started to break. And then there's a little bit of luck, and the little bit of luck I said was we had Google News that just pumped this up. And sure enough, that was the trade. That was the trade. Overnight we held up. There's not really much to it. It's not very complex. It's not like this, secret super strategy. It's not this, wow, this is a golden goose that you shouldn't tell anybody. This is the same technical analysis that I do every night here during slow markets. The same way I view these markets, the same way I look at it. It's one of the most simplest setups. And most of these setups, I'd say 95% of these bigger setups and these bigger trades that I take are to the long side in the NASDAQ or in the equities, because I don't like shorting equities. I'll short the NASDAQ or an equity on a very scalp mindset where I'm not going to hold it for very long, especially overnight. And on a move like this, the fact that we get a beautiful, double bottom setup and then a beautiful, break of this support and resistance level, and it gives me that opportunity. Now, this was a 1-to-1 risk reward. This was a 1-to-1 risk reward. I was risking $120,000 to make $120,000, and I did not get full profit because I closed it early because I didn't want to hold it for the rest of the day. I closed it when we opened up the following day, which was at this time. So I closed my options at this time when we opened up, and I didn't want to hold it for the rest of the day. I took out $94,000. I was risking 120. At worst case scenario, I would have lost 120,000 on this trade. Best case scenario, I would have made about $120,000. So it's 1-to-1. And I didn't even have to hold it through most of the New York session. I was able to close it most of my, and I talked about it on fast markets too. I talked about the setup, talked about it. Jack, I love being on with Jack. What was the pop percentage on these when you entered? It was, I think it was like 54%, 55%. I sold, yeah, I don't want to get too far in this. Essentially, I sold an option for 88 cents and I bought it back for 10, a little less than 10. I sold it for 88 cents, bought it back for 10. How far out is your expiration? It was 1 day. 1 day. It wasn't 0 DTE. It was 1 day. Bought it, sold them on Monday, bought them on Tuesday. Pop Squad, yeah. Well, that's why I love Pop Squad. That's the name of my VIP team. Process over profits. And yeah, Connell, that's a little play that most people don't know. Pop Squad, pop, probability of profits. That was a kind of like a hidden Easter egg I haven't really talked about. Process over profits. Pop Squad. How did you fight the decay? It's a vertical spread. Vertical spreads do not have decays. Not really. Not when you let them, yeah. Pop and drops is, wow, that was very risky. Not really. That's just normal risk, right? It's just as risky as when I placed this gold trade. Pop and drop, same amount of risk. Same amount of risk. When you place a trade, you have a stop loss, you know how much you're gonna risk. Yeah, it's a vertical spread, so you don't have theta decay. If you don't know what that is, Google. I don't want to get too far in depth. Like I said, we are here trading futures, and I don't want to make this too advanced. How many contracts did you have? More than I should. I probably could have optimized it a little bit better, but there's 1,200 contracts. Where did your trade go? I closed this one out for minus $18. I bought a call and sell to put. Yeah, Siwa. Yeah, Tom Sajnoff would have been proud. Yeah, it's a vertical spread. Yep. Honestly, I like futures a lot more though. For a new trader, for someone, futures are straightforward. You're able to, it's more simple in my mind. You don't have to deal with the complexities of options. You're trading basically the same market. You have this volatility. It's a lot more liquid. And hey, market's going up, you buy it. Market's going down, you sell it. You don't have to worry about any of the Greeks. You don't have to worry about any of that complicated stuff. And that's why I've been focusing a lot more on these futures. What risk reward do you suggest for a new trader? At least a 1-to-1. If you're brand new and you're a new trader, I prefer 1-to-1. 1-to-1. Start with 1-to-1. For every dollar you risk, you look to make $1. If you're risking 100, you look to make 100. It's just simple. Start there. Yeah, simples are simple, or futures are simple, more volatile, more liquid. Yep, VTG. That's why I am here. I love these futures. I love teaching about it. If you're new and you're just starting out, I recommend futures to anybody I talk to in person. When they ask me about options and what I do, I said, man, if you're going to start to trading, the fastest way to start finding success is, in my opinion, futures. Just simple, straightforward futures using a prop firm so you don't have to put your own money at risk. If you lose $4,500 in prop firm, you're only out whatever the fees are, which is such a fraction of what you're putting up, right? Like a $150K account. I get $4,500 worth of drawdown. $4,500 worth of drawdown on this $150K account. So I'm basically indirectly have $4,500, right? And how much did I pay? Well, if you pass your very first combine, that's $300. So I'm in $300 and I get $4,500 of drawdown, and then I keep 90% of it. There's 90%. 90% is not 80% for those who are watching, and if you know, you know. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I love it. And it's a safe environment. If I go on tilt, I'm not going to be blowing up a personal live account, because I've done that before. I've sent $10,000 in, started my personal account, go on tilt, lost it all. That's $10,000 straight out of my pocket. Not 150, not $300. That's 10 grand just straight out of my pocket. And I definitely did not have the tools to just lock me out, or a daily loss limit that's just so easily accessible to just put in here into these settings. I would have loved to have this when I was learning to trade. I'd love to be able to just, I'm just tune into YouTube of this guy trading the same platform, trading the same markets as me, and going through the same journey. I was just by myself trying to figure it out. It is a lot more difficult when I started learning. As an old person, I would never imagine something like Topstep X. Yeah, Chris. It's crazy to think what Topstep and Topstep X is doing for this trading community in these futures. Like EFTs, ETFs, QQQ, yep, VTG. Yeah, that's the best to take profits and roll them into the long-term investments. I'm a firm believer that all the payouts I took with Topstep, I took $250,000 out at the beginning of this year, and that went towards long-term investments. That went straight towards long-term investments. Insanely grateful for Topstep, and y'all, it's truly amazing and symbolic relationship. Yeah, I agree 100%. I partnered with Topstep, and I have been only a partner at Topstep, and I'm here for the long run. I'm excited that what we're building here, what the team's building, what we're building as a community and everything together, it's nice. It's fun. Big thanks, Skylar. Thank you. Learned so much in 2 years. Yeah, I've only been here for 2 years too. It's crazy. Oh man. I've been here with Coach Jay. Coach Jay, my man, Coach Jay. I gotta take that screenshot. Love this. I gotta take my screenshots for some of these good comments here. So appreciate it, Coach. I appreciate it. The future's bright. Oh yeah, we're just getting started. Topstep is just always getting started. Love it. Love it. Let's see. Let's go through this. Oh, I wanted to show this. This is a true post. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care about any of the crap talking out there. This is a true post from me. Love to see it. It's just so funny how this works. Topstep is always moving this industry forward since I have been here. From what I've seen, I've done my research before partnering with Topstep. I've done my research before choosing Topstep, and it's been the same ever since I got here. It really has. Whenever Topstep does something, everyone else reacts. And I love to see it. And this is so true. Whenever the newest person on the block, whenever the newest rookie in sports has a good game or a good season, who do you think they compare him to? Yep. Whenever you hear someone, oh man, he's a good basketball player, is he the next MJ? Same with Topstep. I love it. I love it. This is, I see it every single week. I see it all the time, everywhere. And it's been unmatched. Carlos R. Dakota, are you watching football this year? Why, yes, I am. I am a Green Bay Packers fan. Everybody here at Topstep leans towards the Chicago Bears. Shout out to my man Eddie. Eddie, he won a signed rookie card off me. I had a bet with Eddie last year on who would win, Green Bay Packers or the Bears, and ultimately my Packers won. But then I made a wager, like, okay, you know, it's obvious that the Green Bay has a better record than the Bears, but let's just put it all on this game. And the Bears won. The Bears won my Packers, and Eddie ended up winning a pretty awesome football card off of me. It was, what was it? I can't even remember the rookie the card. It was an autographed Chicago Bears card that I sent Eddie. I can't remember what player it was. It was pretty cool. It was pretty dang cool though. What's the difference between futures and normal? Well, futures is a contract that expires in the future, right? Skull Vikings. Okay. Ooh, this is a good question, and then we will end it there. Tuesday and Thursday, I've been getting off a little bit early, a few minutes early. But here's the last question I'm going to answer. It was a good night. It was a fun night. I enjoyed it. Down $18. Tomorrow is going to be a good day. Like I said, I'm going to be on tomorrow with Coach Jay. I absolutely love whenever I'm on air with Coach Jay. And I'm going to be on with Trading with Topstep. It's at 11:15 a.m. Central. And then I'm going to be joining the reversal challenge. So come see me. I'll be trading tomorrow at 11 a.m., 11:15, and then that reversal challenge. I got to get my competitive juices going for that reversal challenge tomorrow. That's always so fun. But last question before I end it here: do I think the back to funded is worth it? If I ever got a payout yet, or going through another combine is better. So this is where I think a lot of people and a lot of drama on social media is just kind of silly. It's an option, right? Don't you love to have these options because it's not a one size fits all for everybody. Topstep's huge. It's a big trading community. There's thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of traders, and everyone, it's just, you can't just have a cookie cutter thing that just everybody gets this. But for the back to funded, I love that option that Topstep has done. If a trader has a strategy and they spent 3 months in the combine to pass that combine and finally pass that combine, and it took them 3 months to pass that combine, and then they have to deal with the psychological barrier from going from a combine to an XFA, and then they get emotional or they struggle in the XFA and lose it, they don't want to go back and spend another 3 months in a combine to get back to an XFA. That time can definitely be worth it to just say, okay, you know what? I made a mistake. I know what I did wrong. I don't want to spend another 2-3 months in a combine grinding my way back. I would rather just spend the extra cash just to have my XFA, or, you know, back to funded. Like, that's the point of it. And yeah, if that person likes to do it, sure. If there's, I could go on and on and on about this, but there is definitely a pro and con, right? There's a pro and con. If you have confidence that you could pass a combine and you don't mind spending the time to pass the combine, then go ahead. Go through the same steps of I'm just gonna trade a combine. I'm gonna pass it. But then here's the thing, though. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is, what if it takes you 5, 6, 7 times to pass a combine? What if it takes you 10 combines to pass, right? What if you're still struggling? Well, then the back to funded was a cheaper option, right? Right? But then do you really want to be a back to funded if you're struggling like that? Or what if you're just trading a combine and you're just YOLOing it to try and pass to get back to funded, right? So there's always different perspectives. There's always different opinions on that. I like that Topstep does have that option, and yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of traders that are excited to have that. Yeah, everyone, if it's an important decision for everybody. Order rejected, $500 is too high. It's about perspective, right? Because what if it takes you 10 combines? Then $500 is actually cheaper, right? And I trust me, I see traders go through a lot of combines. And I just explained it. I just explained, what if it takes you 3 months to pass a combine? I mean, the time in and of itself is more valuable, for someone. Dakota, you're betrayed when you say the opposite of what you're convinced of. And what is that? What is that? I can't even pronounce what I'd probably have a hard time. You're just a troll. Just a troll. That's all right. There's always trolls here. So let's finish up with this. Hey, that's okay. You can't please everybody. The only way you could please it, I don't even think you could please everybody if you just gave out free money. Trust me. So, all right, everybody, tune in tomorrow. It's been a great wait. It's been an absolutely amazing week. It's a short week, great week. We will be back. Slow markets Sunday night. It's going to be a good one. Remember, non-farm payroll is tomorrow morning. Trade safe, be safe, enjoy your weekend. Like I said, touch grass, relax, and try not to think about charts when you're actually relaxing, or else you'll use up that mental capital. So I'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Bye.